So just to fill in some context for what we're watching here, a week and a bit ago, there was a beta for Guilty Gear Strive. I really enjoyed it, but I think everyone had some particular issues about it, particularly about the lobby system, maybe about the damage, general game flow issues. I really enjoyed it, but there were certainly some issues. And we all filled out, well, most of us filled out a survey at the end of the beta. And it's very surprising that they're this quick to address the beta survey. Usually this kind of stuff, especially in Japan, takes forever for them to collate the data. This is less than a week after the survey. So it's pretty crazy. It's like, I've never seen this level of openness and transparency and just directness with the community, which bodes very well. So let's see what Akira Katano has to say. By the way, if poor old Akira looks a bit exhausted, it's because they did this stream at like 5:30 in the morning in Japan. So he looks like he just clearly doesn't want to be here right now. So, good on him. Good on him.
The first question comes to us from Joshua. They ask, how do you think the development of Ark's own netcode solution for Strive and its fantastic reception will affect other Arc-developed fighting games? Ooh, and how does the development team feel about the feedback?
So if you didn't know, the netcode for Guilty Gear Strive was developed entirely in-house.
So as you guys know, we had Guilty Gear Strive, which has rollback netcode now, and also with ACPR. And I know there's been a lot of requests for other Arc System Works games to install rollback netcode, and we're exploring these possibilities right now.
I would love to see, for example, DBFC with this rollback. Or even XR.
And I can't go into any specifics at the moment, but right now we're determining which games we should prioritize in terms of bringing a rollback solution to it. At this time, we're still not sure if we're going to apply the Guilty Gear Strive netcode to these games or explore other middleware solutions that have been developed by other people like GGPO.
Well, thank you very much for answering. I know it's like a hot button topic in the fighting game community, not just in our community, but everyone who plays fighting games right now. I think I speak for a lot of the fans when I say thank you for working so hard on the Guilty Gear Strive netcode. It's pretty magical being able to play from the United States to Japan.
Oh yeah. The games I played, I'm in Japan. I'm in Southwest Japan. I'm in a city called Kumamoto, which is actually closer to Seoul than it is to Tokyo. But I was having very playable matches against people on the West Coast in California. I had a really good set with a Potemkin in the Midwest. So yeah, it is a game changer, this netcode.
Our next question, will there be optimizations to the lobby by the time of release? The lobby itself isn't inherently bad, but right now it is very slow, buggy, and clunky.
You see the head shake, like, yeah, we got a lot of feedback on that. We got a lot of feedback on that. Everyone pretty unanimously agrees that the lobby was absolutely terrible. Just a complete raging dumpster fire.
So as we mentioned very recently, we had to make the decision to push Guilty Gear Strive to release from
in June 11th. They've pushed Guilty Gear Strive from April 9th to June 11th. They stated that the main reason for that delay was to improve the lobbies. That's how bad they were.
There are a few reasons for this decision, and one of the big ones was, of course, the feedback and results from the open beta testing. And we understand that there were some server issues at some point, and I know it's a very important part of Guilty Gear Strive. Right now, we are exploring the possibility of a second open beta test.
Ooh.
There, of course, we would not only look at the server issues that we had, but also explore the possibilities of improving the lobby experience.
It makes sense for them to do the second open beta around in April when they were initially intending on releasing
One, for
Strive.
example, is the sort of tempo of matches we understand wasn't quite up to par, and that's a combination of certain bugs in the game as well as the actual game's flow itself. So we are looking into ways to improve that.
A lot of people generally agreed that damage was a bit too high across the board. I'm actually not against games with very high damage. I think it can lead to more balanced outcomes. And also I think it's more approachable to play a game with shorter matches, shorter rounds. I think I've talked about this a bunch before, but one of the hardest things that you have to accept and come to terms with as an entry-level player, really any level player with a fighting game, is loss, right? Like losing sucks, but you have to get used to it. It's a part of the experience with a fighting game. I think in a game like Strive, like matches go generally pretty quick. So you see that you lose screen, you lose, or game over, or whatever, it's pretty easy to pick yourself back up and be like, okay, let's do a few more. I'm not against high damage games, but they might want to consider making it best, like instead of 2 out of 3 in tournaments, 3 out of 5 or something like that.
So of course, we're reviewing everything that happened during the open beta test, including collecting data and everyone's survey. So thank you all for filling that out. Be patient with us. We are working hard to improve the experience.
Well, the delay is unfortunate. I do think that the game will be better for it. So thank you to our fan base for being understanding, and we look forward to you guys possibly playing the game again in another open beta. After playing the beta, it seems
Obama
like
was right.
characters move more slowly than they did in Rev 2, but they do more damage on the whole. What was the team's thought process when you decided how you wanted the tempo of the game to play out?
So to be frank, the version that everyone played during the open beta test was, in terms of balance, kind of a general framework of where we wanted the game to be. So
Having said that, I will say there were clearly some characters that were a bit, just a little bit OP in the beta, but I was generally quite impressed. The version 1 for any new fighting game, the balance is going to be terrible, yeah? But for a beta? Like for a pre-version 1 beta of a new game, I thought the balance was pretty damn good, actually. Yeah, but yeah, fuck Ramlethal. Fuck Ramlethal.
So to all the people who labbed the game and spent a lot of time in training mode, I'm not really sure what to tell you guys, but there are changes incoming. With regards to the game speed, I know people felt the movement was a little slow, but that wasn't necessarily our intention. And we know Guilty Gear is a game that really strives on that high speed combat. Regarding the tempo, the sort of average time to execute a combo, we are looking at shortening that.
I would agree that the tempo, the sense of game flow was a little bit off for many reasons. The biggest interrupter of game flow for me was counter. And it's not that I didn't enjoy it when it happened. I just thought it happened too frequently. There were times where I just dropped combos because of it. I would get counter, and then my follow-up pressure would get, the inputs would get gobbled up, and I just stand around like a dickhead.
And that will probably shorten the average match time a little bit, but it's not like we're trying to shorten it by any extreme.
Shorten the, like, I already thought matches in Strive were in the beta were pretty short. And actually, as I said before, I really don't mind that.
In terms of when you launch your supers, of course, you want that to feel very satisfying for the player who executed it. So we are looking at increasing the damage, but stay tuned for more updates in terms
increasing the damage for supers. Interesting. Well, you know, we were mentioning this, we talked about this in the podcast with Leon and Theory, that sometimes supers, the scaling on them, particularly in combos, was very aggressive, and it was quite hard to end around with a super.
The last question we have comes from Gunla. For some characters returning from Exurge, some characters have undergone significant changes in their designs compared to others. When iterating on character designs, was Sori more of a focus on these changes, or was it out of a desire to try and provide a fresh perspective given the team's experience with the Exurge series?
That's actually a little bit of both, and it depends on the character. Of course, there are certain characters who we wanted to, I guess, kind of refresh or freshen for the game and bring it into the current age. And also, there are other characters who were changed on more of a story reason. For example, there are certain characters who have switched organizations or factions, if you will. Other characters who have mentally found themselves in a different place from the previous game, and other characters who have gone too close to their origins. And aside from that, I ask everyone to stay tuned for Guilty Gear Strive. Of course, we'll go into a little more depth with story mode.
Just the fact that they're addressing the beta now.
Which has a lot of...
It's not even been a week. This is just... Bravo, gentlemen. Bravo.
That sort of world setting in Guilty Gear.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much for your insight.
Thank you very much.
That's all the time we have for the interview questions. Thank you to our fans who submitted the questions, and thank you both, Mikey and Akira-san, for joining us today. I'm going to switch us to the Guilty Gear Strive gameplay demonstration for the new characters Ino and Anji. Thank you both for joining us, and for those watching the stream, give me one
Anji, Ino, I'm looking forward to this, particularly Ino.